Hi. I know I sound horrible. Um, it is the last day of the month, and it's taken everything in me to complete this because I just am just not feeling good. Been sick all day, all for the last 2 or 3 days. But I really wanted to come on here, sick and all, um, just to complete my month and complete what I said I was gonna do, and share that, you know, Truth in the 80s was a girl who was um, sexually traumatized, who was um, neglected by her parents, um, abandoned, lost. Truth in the 90s was ignoring all of that and acting like she was fine. I smiled a lot. I learned to smile. Um, a teacher taught me, he told me later that, trying to think how I can say this the right way. The teacher that I have spoken about said that he could tell that I was hurt, and that in my hurt, I learned how to use my sexual um, prowess, I guess you could say, to get what I wanted in 7th grade. um, and he knew that. Again, nothing happened between me and that teacher, but I believe that if I had allowed that situation to further, that things would have gone further. Um, there were other situations where, I was taken advantage of sexually, emotionally, physically. I was married at 16, abused. Um, in the sex industry, working as a dancer, working um, in LA as a, um, what do I call them? They call them hostesses. That was my first job in the industry, as a hostess. Basically a glorified escort in a protected environment. Spend time with people in a protected club. To Trish in the later 90s, who's now older and angry and drinking and smoking weed and partying. Like, look, if you partied with me, if you know me from my partying days, you know I went hard. um, the thing is with all of that is that through all the ugly and all the bad, I've always been in the hands of God. I have always been, he's constantly pursued me. He has constantly been present. He has constantly been calling me. He has constantly been there. Every minute of that, in every circumstance and in every opportunity of life that I've experienced. I've had people say, like, if there's a God, why would he allow you to go through those things? Or why would he allow anybody to go through those things? I can't answer all of those questions, but I can tell you this, that the comfort and the love that I've felt throughout the years, knowing that when I didn't think I had anybody there, he was always there, has been the biggest thing that's pulled me through. When people say, how did you make it? How did you get through that? Being beat, thrown around the room, tied up with a telephone cord, jumped on, stomped on, punched, bitten, scratched, hair pulled, told you're nothing, told you're ugly, worthless, knowing that the other man's going to want you. My own mother telling me, lay on my back. I better learn to lay on my back and spread my legs because that's the only way I'm going to get a good man. Or get a man. Not a good man. A man. Just all of the negative, all the down talk, all of the horrible things. It all has a purpose. I personally am vocal. I am a communicator. It's what I do. talk it out. I have to talk about it. I have to work through it, talk about it, talk to the situation, talk about the situation, reflect on the situation, and over 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 again. And I used to ask my therapist, like, how many times am I going to have to go over this? And she said, until you're done. As many times as it takes until you're done. And that to me was so annoying because I'm like, give me a timeline. Like a year, 6 months, I can talk about it 4 more times and I'll be good. And she's like, no, it's until you're done. And it's interesting because there's a particular situation that I've talked about this month that I've been dealing with for years, that all of a sudden it was just like, you know what? I'm better than that. I deserve better than that. And just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, no, I'm done. And it isn't, I'm not even going to go into details on that. It's just when you know who you are and you know your worth and you know what you're supposed to be doing, all that other stuff doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter anymore. It comes like, okay, like, yeah, so what, that happened, but where is that taking me? I really want to go into 2020 with 2020 vision. My eyes aren't the best, I have to wear glasses, but I want to see 2020 as clearly as I possibly can. And I want to challenge you to do the same thing. I want to challenge you to come up and say, you know what, there's some things I've been carrying with me, or maybe there's some things that I need to let go of, or some things I need to put down and stop talking to and messing with. I mean, like, honestly, I have had to block people on my phone this month. Like, this month. This isn't like something I'm not personally going through. Everything that I have ever said to anybody is something I have personally experienced. I would never, ever, ever be preachy at somebody about something that I have not experienced, that I have not gone through, that I have not worked out, or am currently working out, or know that there's a way to navigate through that. I had a girlfriend, like, I'm not going to say how many years ago, but I had a girlfriend who at one point called me and said, I really want to, I'm pregnant and I can't have this baby, I'm going to have an abortion, and anybody who knows me, like, I'm very clear with my friends, I am 1,000% against abortion. I'm not having anybody's abortion, and I'm not helping you participate in your abortion. That is not anything that I'm going to help anybody through. That's not my choice. I'm not going to help somebody go through that. I don't care if you choose to do it. That's your business. But don't include me in it. Don't involve me in it. I don't want to know. I don't care. And it isn't anything against anybody that's had an abortion, I promise. I know for me, personally, I can't be involved in that, and so I won't. And so she contacted me and said, well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why she contacted me. Because my last pregnancy, I was in and out of a situation with my child's father, who we had been going back and forth for years, back and forth, and I found out that he had married another woman. And in me finding that out, I was absolutely crushed. I was blindsided by this. I had been with him, like, throughout the course of the first year of their marriage. I can't even tell you how many times. Like, can't even count it. I had a full relationship with this man. And so, I mean, when I say full relationship, we went together. But I knew that if I called him and said, come over, he was there, and I knew if he called me, I would say, yeah, come over, or let's hang out, or meet me here. And that was always an open door. And so we were still, as far as I knew, figuring things out with what was going on with us. And the next thing I know, he's married to somebody else. And I kind of stepped off the deep end, like, big time, major big time. Met a football player, a Cardinal, an Arizona Cardinal. He was a retired Cardinal. We hooked up a few times. Next thing I know, we hung out, whatever. Boom, I'm pregnant. And I didn't know. The truth is, I'm just going to put it out there. I did not know when I got pregnant. Well, let me back up. I went in to get my tubes tied. And at the time, the babies, my kid's dad and I were back on again. And I had an appointment to go get my tubes tied. And I went in to get my laboratory operation, like pre-operation lab work done. And they told me that I was pregnant. And I laughed. I was like, you guys are funny. Like, that's like big time jokes, right? And they're like, no, you're really pregnant. So to top it all off, it was a high-risk pregnancy. I wasn't supposed to be pregnant. There were a million things going on. And so I had to figure it out. Everybody in my world was like, you can't have a baby. There's no way you can do this. Like, you have to get rid of it. You have to have an abortion. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't believe in abortion at all. And so I was like, unless they tell me that the baby is not viable, there's no way it's happening. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not happening. As long as there's a heart beating and a brain that's working, then we're going to go forward with the pregnancy. And it just was one of those things that I was adamant about, no matter how it looked. Because it turned out to be, the sad thing is the truth. I was intimate with the football player, but that was a done deal. My ex came back, and I was like, cool, I'm going to be back with my ex. Like, the football player was out. It wasn't even a conversation. And, a few weeks had passed. It wasn't like a one day, the next day type of thing, but a few weeks had passed, and kid's dad came back, and we resumed our relationship. And so when I found out that I was pregnant, it was like, okay, well, how far along am I? Because, like, what are we talking about? And they had pinpointed it right in the middle of those two situations. So it was like, okay, I could guess that it was probably the first one, not the second one, because of the circumstances. But I didn't know for a fact. I didn't know for sure at all. And so I was a single woman living in Arizona with no family, and I had my ex there, and he's got a wife across town, and he's temporarily at my house or temporarily there and back and forth. And it was just a nightmare of a situation. I mean, a total nightmare of a situation. Partially through the pregnancy, probably 4 months into my pregnancy, he decided to leave her, and he moved back in with me. And at that time we weren't together. We were just figuring things out and kind of, I guess, trying it out again to see if it was a possibility. It was just a crazy season. It was a crazy time. In my mind, we weren't back together, and we were never getting back together. In his mind, he said later in life that there was a possibility there that I didn't realize was there. Whatever. Fast forward to my child being born. I now have to have paternity tests done to find out is she this one or that one. And mortifying. I mean, it's absolutely embarrassing to go and say, okay, well, I had a situation and I have to figure it out. And I knew, I guess a part of me knew it was the first one based on the circumstances, like I said. But the second one, it just kind of came out like, is this something that I even really want to go forward with? Or I don't even know what to do. I hope that she was my kid's father, because we had children together. We were already raising 3 kids together. So, yeah, I definitely hoped that she was his, because that would have been a million times easier for me to just slide her right on in instead of dealing with another person. You know what I mean? So anyway, fast forward, we found out that my daughter had all kinds of problems after she was born. There was like a congenital kyphosis, where they said her back wasn't forming properly, and some things were going on with her spine. Then they were saying she had a blood disorder and all this other stuff. So come to find out, the blood disorder was like not even a thing. It was some other kid's test that they got mixed up in a lab with my daughter's name, so that wasn't even a fact. And then 2 years later, it came out that the congenital kyphosis healed itself, and she didn't have a problem, and she's not going to have any problems in the future. So I say all that to say, this friend contacted me because she knew that I had just come out of this crazy, horrible pregnancy situation where I literally went through the pregnancy with a scarlet letter across my chest. It was embarrassing. People would say, well, where's the father? And I'd be like, there is none. And it's just not a comfortable situation to be in, The baby was born. We did what we had to do. My kid's dad was there when she was born. He held her before I did. He's very involved in her life, even though he's not biologically her father. He's still involved in her life, even though he's not biologically her father. And that's just one of those things. So this friend contacts me because she knows that I've been in this situation, and she's like, I got myself in a situation, I'm pregnant, da-da-da, and you're the only person I know that's been through something like this, you're strong, you can handle it. And I was like, you can do this. Like, you can totally do this. And I promise you, yes, I had questions about, do I really want to go through with this? Is this something I really want to do? Maybe I should consider other options. Of course, I think anybody in my position would have done the same thing. However, having her has been the biggest joy, and I have had more laughs and more peace in my life since she's been in my world than I could even expect. So I share that with my friends, my close friends, to say, yeah, okay, so the pregnancy sucks, but you don't know if that baby's going to bring you like 1,000,000 pounds of joy and bring you through so many hardships in life, laughing instead of crying. I was a crier. I cried about everything that was going on in my world, and this child came in and made my life joyful and fun, and she gave me a reason to hope again and a reason to laugh again and things to, get up and want to do something with myself. I don't know that I would be in the position I'm in today if it wasn't for her. That's the truth. I don't know that I would be motivated. I wasn't expecting to have a third child. I never wanted a third child. I was good with the two that I had. But, it became one of those things. I have gone through my life 100% knowing that there is a purpose for my crazy life. Everything crazy that's ever happened, every wild thing that I've ever experienced, I have always known it's not for me, it's for somebody else. There's a lesson to be learned here. Figure out what the lesson is and pass it on, because someone else needs to hear that. So I don't know if I just saved anybody's babies, and if I did, please let me know, because I absolutely hope that babies are saved by my message. But I know that life doesn't, the circumstances don't always look the way the future's going to look. They don't always. It just doesn't, it's not that way. If you had told me 15 years ago you're going to have another baby and the circumstances aren't going to look good, I probably would have said, no, I'm having an abortion. I'm not going to do that. But if I was seeing in the future, then yeah, I can't tell you that I've been the easiest child. Like, there have been circumstances, of course, what child doesn't have circumstances, but so much joy and so much laughter has come from that. So, really, I just wanted to close the month to say that all of these crazy things that I've experienced have not disqualified me or shut me out or taken me out of rotation or out of the line or Call of Duty, whatever. It hasn't disqualified me. It hasn't made me stop. There's nothing that's happened to me that would make me not continue to move forward in life or to not keep pressing on. I told a friend of mine this morning, sometimes you have to crawl. Sometimes it's minute by minute. Sometimes it's hour by hour. And sometimes, it's okay, if I can just get through the next 10 minutes, then I'll be good. If I can get through the next 15 minutes, I'll be good. Okay, what about the next hour? Trust me, I've had those days. We've all had those days. I just think that my life without God would not be, because I don't know that I would be here. In fact, I don't think I would be, because I've tried to commit suicide twice. I shared one, the worst of the two, but twice over, I think I shared both, actually. But I did it twice. The enemy has been out for me, hot for me, pursuing me just as much as God has. Life has been crazy, and things have been thrown at me, but I don't want anybody to lose hope, because I promise you your victory is on the other side. It's coming. It is coming. You're not disqualified. This isn't the end of you. You're not going to fall apart, and your life's going to be over, and, because life is what it is. It's crazy sometimes. And sometimes you just have to press on, press through. I don't have, one of those testimonies that are like, I opened up my Bible and the words jumped off the page at me and, hit me side of the head with this testimony. I'm not that person. I've had a very drawn out testimony, something that slowly happened in my life where God has been constant and been real every minute of that. And, I think that that's what I needed. I don't know that I would believe some big, like, damn, truth, I am God situation. I don't know that I would believe that. I would think, well, I'm just going crazy or something. I don't know that I would believe that that was really God. As much as I would a slow, consistent process. And he has consistently done that and shown me that he's real and that he loves me and that he's not giving up on me. And, that's just my work. I'm not going to preach at you, but I do hope that you understand why I've chosen the path that I've chosen now that you know a little bit more about me. I personally chose the path of Christianity because that's what's been the most real to me. I don't really care what religion. I have friends who are Catholic, I have friends who are Mormons, I have friends that are whatever. That's what they choose, that's who they are, that's great for them. But I believe that, this is what's worked for me, and this is what's pulled me through my circumstances. So, yeah, I hope that you know that you can talk to me anytime about my belief system or why I am. And I also hope that you know that my life isn't, I'm not sitting on a pedestal like, oh, this is me and that's you. That's just not how I am. I know that people live life. I know that people have experiences. I trust me, I'm going to share some of my friends with you in the next few weeks. And I know that there are people who have really, really, really had crazy experiences and other people who've had, really normal lives and nothing crazy has ever happened in it at all. And that's great. 100%. I'm not better than the next person, but I hope that you know that the life that I live is showing you a life of a Christian, that this is what it looks like. It's not like some religiosity thing where I am like, oh, I'm a Christian preaching from the somewhere, and then I come home and I'm a different way. What you see me as here is the same person I am in a church building. It's the same person I am all the time. That doesn't change. Who I am is who I am. At home, out in the public, hanging out with my friends, in the church. I am 100% who I am all the time. I'm a little bit wild, I'm a little bit crazy, a little bit kook, a little edgy at times. I kind of have a mouth. I have a temper at times, and sometimes I snap, and sometimes I bite, and sometimes I get mad, and, I tell people I'm going to hit them way too much, or but I'm going to beat them, or punch them, or chop them in their throat. I'm violent. But I do that in church too. I am who I am, and I am not faking this in any way, shape, or form. I'm not here to put on a show to you. I just hope that you know that authentically what you see when I'm with you is the same person that I am all the time, and the same person that I am in a church building or wherever I am. I think that I can only be the only representation of Christ that I am called to be. I've never felt comfortable being, those church folk people. I'm not even comfortable around church folk people. That's like a religious thing, and it makes me uncomfortable, and I walk away. I'm like, you're doing too much. People who get preachy and shut people out and don't allow people in. I'm like, do you know who Jesus was? Do you know that he hung around with drunks? Do you know he hung out with prostitutes? Do you know that he hung out with people who are a little bit edgy and a little bit crazy and a little bit not like church people? So because I know that, I don't have a problem hanging out with people who don't look like that. I think that people who are looking for church people, you're not going to find that with me. You're just not. I'm not about that. I'm not about even putting on a dress. I'm not saying I won't put on a dress to go to church, but because I will, and I have. But I'm going to be me. I've gone to church dressed just like this, in a hoodie. Sometimes it's, jeans. Most of the time it's jeans. I'm not gonna put on a show just to be with Jesus. To me, my life with Jesus is a relationship. It's an everyday thing, an all day thing. This is constant. It's not for show. There's nothing about this that's for show. It is 100% authentically who I am. So I hope that you've seen that, and I hope that you've been able to get something out of that. If not, then great, and if you have, great. I'd love to hear about it. If you have, comment, send me a message privately. I get a lot of private messages because people don't really feel comfortable sharing, and that's fine. I'm open to any conversation that you want to have, and I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season. It's been a great 30 days, like a long 30 days, but I'm still not feeling good, so I'm gonna go lay down. But I definitely hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm done with it. I don't want to talk about it ever again. I laid it out on the table, and that we're moving past that. I'm not going to continue to revisit the past because the past is over. And future forward thinking, going into 2020 with clear vision. So, hope you guys have the great rest of the day, and I will chat with you later. Bye.